Out front tonight, Trump is pushing a new conspiracy theory once again about voter fraud. This time, though, it's Google's fault, apparently. Here's his tweet from today. Report just out. Google manipulated from 2.6 million to 16 million votes from Hillary Clinton for Hillary Clinton in 2016 election. This was put out by a Clinton supporter. He continues, not a Trump supporter. Google should be sued. My victory was even bigger than thought. Bigger than thought. There is no evidence of that. There is no real evidence of that, I should say. His theory based off not a new report even, but congressional testimony from last month. Testimony that got little attention and was largely ignored. That is until the theory appeared today on Fox Business, discussing claims by a researcher named Robert Epstein, who claims Google may have shifted millions of votes to Hillary Clinton. How? Well, Epstein, the researcher, blames bias in Google search results.
In 2016, Google's search algorithm likely impacted undecided voters in a way that shifted at least 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton. The 2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million.
But to be clear, there is no evidence that search results were skewed. Additionally, Google denies that. And take it one step further, if search results were biased, there's no evidence that it changed a single vote. But in typical Trump fashion, none of that context matters. Or the fact that all real evidence shows that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. Clinton was quick to respond to the president's new claim, tweeting this. The debunked study you're referring to was based on 21 undecided voters, but for context, that's about half the number of people associated with your campaign who have been indicted. Clearly, still no love lost there. And here is the thing. This isn't the first time that the president has pushed baseless claims about millions of illegal votes in 2016. Remember this from President Trump's policy advisor, Stephen Miller?
Having worked before on a campaign in New Hampshire, I can tell you that this issue of busing voters into New Hampshire is widely known by anyone who's worked in New Hampshire politics. It's very real. It's very serious. This morning on this show is not the venue for me to lay out all the evidence.
There was no evidence. There's no evidence of that. I myself have spoken to the offices of the Secretary of State of New Hampshire and the Attorney General's office way back when he was talking about this, and they didn't then have any evidence of seeing any buses coming in. So there's that, and then there is this.
Many places, like California, the same person votes many times. You probably heard about that. They always like to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory, folks. Millions and millions of people.
There was much illegal voting.
They're voting like really early. And we have to discuss that early thing. That's sort of, so many things are going on, so many things. I wonder what happens during the evenings when those places are locked.
Again, no evidence, no matter how many times you say it. But don't take my word for it. The president's own commission to investigate widespread voter fraud found none before it disbanded. I'm going to speak to a member of that now defunct commission in just a moment. But first, Caitlin Collins. She's out front, live outside the White House for us. Caitlin, why is the president... Conspiracy theories, we know that he has an affinity for, but why is he pushing this latest conspiracy theory, and why now?
Well, the president has long had this accusation that Google is biased against him. He once claimed they were suppressing positive stories about him without any evidence. And now today, on a day where the president had a light public schedule, he clearly saw this clip that you just played of this psychologist. But also, we should note the president is citing the study wrong. He's claiming that Google manipulated votes, but in this study that we should note is widely disputed and denied by Google. The psychologist is simply saying that there was bias in the search results for Google, and that is what gave those votes to Hillary Clinton, even though this person doesn't explain what he means by Google gave these votes to Hillary Clinton. However, the president has taken this claim, he's run with it, and even put his own spin on it. And of course, even though it doesn't even match what the author himself said, which he told CNN's Daniel Dale today, the president is still maintaining that there was a change in the votes. This fits a pattern that the president has had where he has long insisted privately and publicly that he should have won the popular vote. It's been something that's bothered him ever since election night in 2016, where the president defeated Hillary Clinton, of course, in the Electoral College. But even just yesterday, you were playing these clips of the president talking about voter fraud. just yesterday, as the president was leaving his vacation in New Jersey and coming back here to the White House, he was alleging that there was voter fraud. And he was talking about voter ID laws and how there needed to be stronger ones in the context of him talking about guns, which reporters questioned what the two had to do with each other. And when reporters pointed out your own voter fraud commission disbanded because it couldn't find anything, the president continued to make these allegations even though there was nothing to back them up. Of course, here, Kate, but this also helps the president use this tactic of feeding into this distrust of tech companies, something he thinks can help him in the election.
Yeah, it's like a value meal deal of his favorite conspiracy theory topics. It's great to see you, Caitlin. Thanks so much. Out front now, David Gergen, former presidential advisor to 4 presidents, Samantha Vinograd, senior advisor to the National Security Advisor in the Obama administration, and Matthew Dunlap. He's Maine's Secretary of State. He was also a member of President Trump's commission to investigate voter fraud. Thank you guys for being here. David, the president is pushing yet another conspiracy theory about voter fraud. We've kind of laid it out. Caitlin laid out kind of how he didn't even get the theory right, if you follow the theory. Why now? Why again? What is this?
He's so bloody insecure. This has been an issue, as Caitlin pointed out, that has been with him since the elections, because he feels that people don't see him as a legitimate president unless he won the majority vote, and he wants to sort of convince people otherwise. But we have to look at himself. He's been spinning out conspiracy theories more frequently now than he used to. Just this last few days, he said, he's accused the press of trying to bring him down on the economy, so it wouldn't be good for him. But in this case, if you look at it, this testimony was, is weeks old. It just came up on Fox as a by the way, and the person, Mr. Epstein. Professor Epstein, this is not a peer-reviewed argument. It's not a peer-reviewed article anywhere. It's not an article that's appeared anywhere, if anyone can tell. Professor Epstein on the internet appears to have last been an academic at the University of the South Pacific, and he was not a tenured person there. Had a non-tenured job. So, typically in some disputes like this, academics have a chance to peer review. They have a chance to talk it over and compare notes. It's not one man carrying a spear and can get it on national television.
Until now. Sam, if you allow for the logic that the president is laying out here, just go with me, then President Trump, it seems to me, would also have to accept that Russia's interference and disinformation in the 2016 election also, as he put it, manipulated votes. But that would be manipulated votes for him, right?
That's exactly right. President Trump continues to adhere to the double standard diet. He is quick to point the finger at interference or influence that is unhelpful to him, while opening the door to accepting foreign dirt or using media platforms like Fox News to spread conspiracy theories. It's a double standard. And to David's point, the president's insecurities are making America insecure in a very specific way. We've been reading today about the Chinese government, the communist government, using information warfare to spread lies about protests in Hong Kong. We know that Vladimir Putin sows conspiracy theories and amplifies them on social media. The president of the United States is doing exactly the same thing. We can analyze why he's doing it, but the fact of the matter is that it's almost like he's waking up every day and deciding he's going to make Vladimir Putin's job a little bit easier by spreading these lies about our democracy. And at this point, he doesn't need to get information on voter fraud or influence from a tenured or an untenured professor. He has an intelligence community. He has a new acting director of national intelligence. He has new officials at DHS. He's getting his election security briefings, or cherry picking them, I should say, from television rather than engaging with his actual team.
And let's go to one of those people who was part of a place to gather actual information on these actual topics. Mr. Secretary, thank you for coming on. You were on the President's Voter Fraud Commission. Were there any conversations, questions, and let alone any evidence offered of Google searches impacting votes during the brief time that this commission was together?
Google was never brought up in any of our discussions, and this is really institutional gaslighting in its worst form. The president's own intelligence community has told everyone that not a single vote was manipulated or changed in either the 2016 or the 2018 elections. And yet here he is going off talking about some phantom menace that's once again disrupted our election system. The fact of the matter is all 50 states certified their election results in 2016 and 2018. Every single vote was counted accurately. In Maine, I won't speak for the entire country, but it'll sound like I am. We use paper ballots. How do you hack a felt pen in a paper ballot? So no votes were changed, certainly in Maine. And so this effort to bring doubt upon the entire election system only does harm to our electoral process in terms of the diminished voter confidence that our voters should expect to see when they walk into a polling place. Elections are run at the local level. They're not run from the White House, and they're certainly not run from Google or any other search engine. Yeah. So this is categorically untrue.